you see guys yelling at the TV for like football, right?
Yeah.
Like in a football game, like, "Brr." That was her out of my car window. I don't actually think they whisper like that. No, sometimes
I think they do.
They totally whisper.
They do?
They talk all quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of weird and creepy.
Well, why am I talking in my ASMR voice? Well, because this beautiful lady over here, everybody, Krystal Dunn, welcome to the show.
Hi, guys.
You know, you're the first one that I had no idea what that was.
Yeah, I know. We were in a car.
Yeah, an Uber at SHOT Show.
Yes.
Am I the only one that didn't know what ASMR
See,
was?
this is what I
That's
think is
weird.
interesting because I know like you're on TikTok and I feel like TikTok
No,
is
I'm not. I mean, I have an account, but I'm not on it.
but there are
Get
things
on
that
TikTok.
there are things that you send me that are from TikTok.
Pink sauce. Okay,
right.
yes.
So I feel like you at least have seen the ASMR
No.
videos
No.
or accounts.
I had no idea. Krystal like, yeah, it's, people make like these really weird.
Yeah, and they do the click. We were doing this at dinner the other
Because we like found a video.
You're
and like,
good.
Yeah. We found a video. Like, what is that video? It was like somebody like stir frying something.
Yeah.
And it was like ASMR.
All right, we're going to do a Not Your Average Gun Girls ASMR. I looked this up. Gun ASMR is a thing.
Yes,
Yeah,
on
we
I
did.
heard
I
that.
remember us looking this up.
However, no one is like taking off lipstick caps and putting them back.
Oh.
Nobody's running their
Hold
nicely manicured talons
Yeah.
through ammo.
Coffee lovers ASMR.
Yes, this
Slurping.
is
Maybe they'd like to hear us
Right.
slurp through our
slurp
gun
our
snob mugs.
coffee through our
Like,
gun snob mug.
Hear it dripping through your little pour
I
over.
think we get
Oh.
our high heels and we're just like... Like, I really feel like we need to come up with this Not Your
I
Average Gun
think we
Girls
do.
ASMR video.
I think so.
I think it's just
Can't give away all of our ideas, but I'm really
Yeah.
thinking that.
We take the lipstick bullets and like click, click.
Oh,
click.
yeah.
I'm gonna have the hardest time whispering.
Yes.
Amy's
like,
like,
no,
no.
novel.
both of you will have the hardest. I will be the one that like, you aren't even whispering. No one can hear you.
Right?
I mean, you're making them more anxious,
Yeah.
not calming them down.
Halfway through, Emily just turns off our mics. She's like, okay, I'm going to continue on with this.
They don't need to know. Oh my gosh. Well, we're so excited because we're here with our friend Krystal Dunn. She's in Dallas. But not only is she in Dallas, we are working very hard to get another one of our favorites to
Assembling the
make
crew
the move
one at a
to
time.
the
Another
big
transplant.
How much
D.
closer are we to getting you here?
You know, well, I did told you I registered my business name here. Just
But you did not tell me that.
I thought I did. I thought I texted
I
that
thought
to
it was
you.
in the group text.
It was in
I
the
might
group
have missed
text.
that these
Well,
days.
I registered my business name here just so nobody can take it. And it's trademarked nationally, but I was like, no, specifically in Texas. It's
Awesome.
mine, just in case. JIC. So
Just in case.
Okay, there we go.
It's very, I feel like a very
Yeah.
business term.
Getting closer, but
acronym.
our Uber driver just told us 100,000 people are moving here a month. So like y'all don't
A
have
month?
a month.
From where?
Well, I think it's like 80 to 100. Maybe that was just during like the max like pandemic.
Well, that
thing,
had to
but
have been because that's why nobody could buy real estate.
Yes,
here.
Right.
And,
yeah.
But I think it slowed. It
a little bit.
just slowed down because they had 600, well, this was nationwide, 600,000 contracts on homes fall through in the month of June.
Oh wow.
The day after the interest rates hiked. So it's kind of slowed
Okay.
some of that down. So you could find a house.
Yeah, I'll
Like,
wait
here's
I'll like swoop in. I'll be a swooper.
That's
and
the
like
thing. You
come
can,
in
you
for
can
something.
negotiate. Like
Yeah.
it's instantly turned to like a buyer's market,
Yeah.
you know? So
I'm
it
just
was-
like, hey, Lindsay, just put your feelers out.
Well, I
and-
heard you were doing
Yes.
something pretty cool here this weekend. Tell us catch us up on what's going on in the beauty world.
Well, gun girls always like to take care of their skin too, especially because we spend so much time outside shooting.
Yes.
And obviously, I'm an esthetician, so we had a HydraFacial advanced training here. It's so cute. I need to show you the video. Like they have, so it's HFX Dallas for HydraFacial, and it's like a permanent location. And they just host experiences and advanced trainings. And so when you come, you guys, there is a wall that is like as big as my house, and it's got Texas on it and all these HydraFacial things coming out. It says "Love y'all." It's so cute.
Okay. Who's the best candidate for a HydraFacial? And the way I kind of explain it when I get them is like,
Yeah.
I don't see the effects of them for a long time, but they're great for like an
Interesting.
event.
Okay.
Like, is that
I
appropriate?
don't know.
Well,
or
they
does
It's like
it-
when you gave me my HydraFacial when I was
Yeah.
in Minnesota, like I felt like I was like glowing.
Yeah.
but like for how long? I mean, like you got to do it again.
Well, you do. It's so basically it's more about like they call it like skin health, right? But it is like a what they call like a red carpet ready treatment.
Yeah.
And so it is like it depends on like what booster you pick, which is like a concentrated super serum. And because it like they have a patented like tip technology. So it drives it in like the delivery system makes it like go further into the skin. So it does a lot more than anything you'd put on topically.
Yeah.
So like a regular facial or something. But so no, it's like that day you're like glowing. And they actually have done, it's one of the few like companies out there that has like white papers. They've done research.
Oh, interesting.
and your hydration levels stay elevated like more than like normal for like 3 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, your actual hydration levels stay elevated, and you get like a microderm in there basically, but it's like Hydroderm.
I do feel like it's so, my skin just feels
Yeah.
so
I mean,
soft
the
and
gunk
smooth
that I
and-
saw that came
yes.
off
Oh, yeah.
my skin was disgusting,
Oh, it's
but
great.
also very satisfying.
This
is-
To know that is like off my face.
Oh yeah, they
Get
call
it
that
off.
little jar like the gunky, and they have these cute little hashtag stickers that say like gunky junky.
No.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, and you put the light, and the new ones have like a built-in light, so you can like swirl it, like see all the little bit. It sounds gross, but like it's super like gratifying. Like you're like,
When
yes,
you like that stuff.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah,
I do love that stuff. But I mean, I'm a sucker for beauty junkie
Oh, yeah.
treatments and products, and I'm in definite maintenance phase mode. I mean, like I
Yeah.
feel like as we age, you have to do so much more in maintenance
Oh yeah,
for your skin, so that it's not a dead giveaway for your age.
oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's just, and that's the thing, is it just like it keeps up that skin health. It like makes it, you know, and is actually, it's crazy, you guys, because of the hydration, the concentrated like delivery system. A lot of plastic surgeons will use it, and it cuts down recovery time from like all kinds of like plastic surgery stuff or
Wow.
injections. Like if you get one before injections, if you get Botox, you get filler, get one before.
No,
Huge
don't
difference.
do that.
No, I don't know anybody does that, but if
So
they
what
did.
you're saying is we need to schedule a HydraFacial appointment for our next Botox appointment.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Because it'll seriously like cuts down bruising, like increases healing time, everything. And if you get filler, since your face is already so hydrated and it sucks up that water,
Yeah.
all the things. Again, not that we know anybody who does that, but
No,
did.
I don't know anyone.
Well, I've been open about that on my
Right.
Instagram page,
I
so
know.
feel free to go watch some of those before and after.
Oh yeah, and they have a scalp one now that is cool. Like like same thing. You go through the scalp. It's so neat. And if you have extensions, you can still do it because it doesn't get in the hair. It's just on the scalp. And they're so like because a lot of people have so much like buildup on their scalp, like they're actually seeing people have like tons of regrowth, less grays, like
I'm all for that.
all kinds of
I mean,
stuff.
I feel like I just want that because of the amount of dry shampoo I'm
Yes.
dumping into my hair.
Oh yeah. And they have like they use this little like microscope, like a dramatic scope, and then you can like see all the buildup around your scalp. It's so gross. And then they do it, and afterwards you're like, oh my God, my scalp is so clean and gorgeous. I have such a pretty scalp.
All right, I'm gonna have to ask for the scalp HydraFacial.
Yeah, it's the Caravive is what it's called.
So is that what you're going to be doing, the
Okay.
Caravive at Brabella?
I think we're gonna start adding
we need to
it.
find,
Come visit.
until Brabella opens in Dallas,
I know, right?
we need to find who's doing Caravive here in Dallas.
You do. You'd love it.
All right. I'm so excited about this.
Yeah.
Yes, I love it. We love talking to you about the latest beauty.
We've had
beauty
Krystal on
products.
twice. I think the
Yes.
first time we talked to her, we talked all about you being a competitive shooter,
Yes.
badass competitive shooter. And then I believe the second episode that we brought you on, you had that incident happen.
I had an incident.
Yep.
Incident happened
Yes.
at the salon or at the spa. Do you call it a salon or spa?
We go back and forth. Yeah,
Okay.
we don't do hair, but we still say like aesthetic salon, whatever spa.
At the spa.
Yeah.
And now we have you back because we want to hear about your HydraFacial. We want to hear about your business, because this is what I think is so awesome about a lot of the people we have on is like, sure, we're all in the gun industry. We all do something with guns, but we also have like a different aspect of our lives
Oh yeah.
that kind of like, I feel like the gun stuff is our like side hustle and our hobbies.
Yes.
But like we all are running companies and doing things, and like your spa is just amazing. I just love it. I went
Thank
there.
you.
I was able to go there when I was visiting you.
You had VIP treatment. I gave her a
I did.
HydraFacial, did her eyebrows
She
and everything.
opened the spa
Just
just,
for-
for me.
yeah.
So
Yep.
I
You need
feel
to make a
very
trip out to
special.
Minnesota.
Yeah.
Now you do.
No, I'll just wait for you to come to Dallas.
Yeah.
Well, I can't bring the HydraFacial with me. So.
That's true. Yeah. That is true.
It would be
Yeah.
So what are
difficult.
you doing lately when it comes to shooting? Well, since COVID happened, I assume there was no competitive match. There was no matches happening during COVID and the pandemic.
You know, it depended on the state. Right? It depended
Really?
on the state. So it was really interesting because as soon as COVID happened, at first it was like, okay, stuff was shut down, but that was in the spring. So come like June, that's when like some stuff had started to open back up. And so that it was, but because it was outside, matches are always outside for the most part. Then yeah, we were still able to have them, but it was like really weird. It was like small squads, no more than 10. And like you guys have to like stand far apart. Or at least they said that, right? Like once you get out there, it's like, it's on you. So yeah, so we went through that. So it was a little bit of a bummer, but we still had like a somewhat season. Like a lot of the big stuff got canceled because like travel and everything. Since then, I would say it was kind of back up to full force, but then there was all of a sudden the ammo shortage.
Yes.
And
yeah.
yeah, and now it's
How is that doing? I mean, are we
They've
back up and running?
They've caught up quite a bit. You know, like I shoot for Federal, and so I luckily was just at their factory not that long ago, and they were freaking like running 24/7. They literally run the factory 24/7. So they've caught up quite a bit, but components are expensive. They had to up everybody's pay. Like when people talk about like, why did ammo get so expensive? It's like, well, their sourcing got expensive. They had supply chain issues. They had to give people bonuses to work through COVID. They had to raise everybody's pay to work through COVID. They had to incentivize. The labor market is crazy. They had to incentivize people to come work and get all these new employees. Then they had to pay to train them. Like everybody's costs have gotten expensive.
Well, and then if you're in a state that had COVID restrictions and someone got COVID, you have to shut down your factory for, what was it, like 2 weeks, 10 days or whatever it was. And so like that puts a strain on the businesses.
The ripple effect of those just...
Well, it just seems like everything, I mean, everything gets passed on to the consumer, but like everything is more expensive, and ammo definitely did not get away from that.
Absolutely.
So it's good to know that we're back up and running, and you can actually find 9mm now.
You can now.
Well, it was like, if you wanted to go train, because we're seeing all these crazy protests, and here we are like all wanting to make sure that we're proficient with our firearm, or the new shooters couldn't even get ammo to go train. It's like, oh my gosh, how are we gonna get to the range to go do this? We didn't want to spare any ammo.
Well, people didn't think about that. Like we had, I think it was something like between like 6 and 9 million new gun owners. And it's like, we'll say each on the small side, see, every one of those people just buys like 100 rounds, like 2 boxes. Do you know how much ammo that is that they now have to make for everybody? And the funniest thing is like, I don't know if you guys know any reloaders, but in the competitive industry, there's tons of reloaders. Like, we can't get components. I'm like, well, if they can't make full product, they're not going to be selling parts, right? Like, come on, think about it. You know?
I think people realize too, even before I actually got into guns and shooting, that 100 rounds of ammo is really not that much.
Oh, it's nothing.
You can shoot that in.
Right.
Oh, you guys, those memes. Have you seen those memes where they're like, man found in basement with 2,000 rounds in rifle? I'm like, 2,000
Well, that's what
I go through that like a
that's
weekend.
what I mean. Like, Ben and I was talking like, well, if something were to happen where for whatever reason we ended up on the news, they would look at us like, those are crazy gun people. They have X amount of guns. You should have seen the amount of ammo they had. And we're like, well, actually, that's not that much ammo. Like I know how much you
saw
get
my garage.
Yes. But it's just like, people don't realize that.
Well, how fast you can go through it, and how quickly, if you actually are out there and practicing and training, then you're blowing through that stuff.
And when you're a competitive shooter,
I tell people like, okay, so imagine, you know, when people are like, that just seems like a lot. I'm like, okay, imagine you're a pro golfer or a pro tennis player. Like, how many balls do you think you hit a year? Well, we are like that, but way faster. So we're going to be taking up more rounds, kind of thing. But I remember I came out, and we need to get you the next one. But I came out and did a training last October, and we did a fun little training at our friend's ranch. And you know, you were like, well, how many rounds are you thinking? I'm like, I in any practice session go through anywhere between 300 and 500 rounds.
How are you loading that? Are you using reloaders, or are you like thumb loading it all?
Oh, girl, no. Oh my God. I wouldn't even shoot if I had to load without a Lula. I would. I'd be like,
this is
no.
ruin the manicure.
Especially when I shoot 40. It's like, good luck fighting that. And do you know what's funny? I had a guy once who was like, stop using that stupid thing, load it like normal. And I was like, yes, you're right. Let's work harder, not smarter. You're absolutely right. Let's not save my hands for the shooting part.
I know.
It's ridiculous. Like, okay, I'm sorry you shoot 5 rounds a year, but for those of us that shoot seriously, like, and the other thing is like, I have so many great like range tips for people, but one of the best things you can do is buy as many magazines if you're intending to truly train hard, and you want to utilize your practice time, or say you don't have an outdoor range and you want to shoot indoors. Buy as many magazines as your budget allows. Load those before you go to the range, right? So when you get there, like have your stuff organized in your bag, have everything prepared, have a plan. You know what I mean? Like, I think you guys are like, so when you first start working out and you go to the gym, if you're not taking class, you're like, what do I do? Right? Like you have to learn, have a plan. Now I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do this exercise, this set, this, blah, blah, this many reps. You need to have that plan when you go to the range. Otherwise you're just wasting time. You know what I mean?
Well, because I think the important thing too is when you're at the range and you're shooting, like each one of those is a rep that you want to make sure is a good quality rep.
Absolutely.
And if you have no plan, you're just basically just shooting for fun.
Yep.
And at that point, why are you even like, sure, go shoot for fun on the weekend.
Yeah.
What are you training for too? I think
what are you training for?
It's very different because like self-defense training is probably I'm sure there's a lot of elements and skills with like competitive shooting, obviously, but isn't the training a little bit different when you're going to go do self-defense training and tactical training?
It is like I'm sorry, baby. There's nuances to it. At the end of the day, it's funny. So like for instance, like even if you talk about self-defense training, but you can go all the way to like tactical training. Well, any of the, you know, like special operations guys, the very best ones in every unit are the ones who are competitive shooters, right?
Really?
More rounds down range, better understanding of the fundamentals, better practice, and on, right? More time. And so at the end of the day, if you're always training on certain elements of the fundamentals, now we're just talking like, are you drawing from on the waistband holster? Are you drawing from concealment and like those little things? Sometimes you're adding things like flashlights or red dots or whatever, and that stuff can be a little bit more nuanced. But yeah, I mean, the more time you spend, those fundamentals are always going to train. And it is interesting because pistol skills cross over to rifle much better than rifle skills cross over to pistol. So very consistently, you'll see 3-gun guys come in a pistol and they kind of suck, right? Or and maybe that's a little strong, but like they're definitely not like, so if they're up here in 3-gun or rifle, they're like here in pistol. If you are here in pistol, you usually can cross over a little, pretty well and be kind of about the same in 3-gun or in what. So it's interesting.
Think everybody who's, or maybe you know this answer, that's in competitive shooting, does everybody pretty much conceal carry?
Like actively? Yeah. I would say, Emily, I would say that everybody probably, not everybody, most people have their concealed carry. I don't know any competitive shooters that don't at least have their concealed carry because it also makes it easier for travel and purchasing and all that stuff. But I'm not, depending on I don't know. I'm one of those girls. I learn from y'all. And actually, if I'm in athletic clothes, I always carry my Alexos are great. But like, I'm one of those people, I'm like, it's summer. I'm wearing like a nice light little thing. Like,
flashbang? Are you a flashbang?
Flashbang carrier. No, I do like the Filster. I do have the Enigma, so that's helping because then, like, regardless of your outfit, you can wear something. I feel like I'm like hiding in my tree over here.
I feel like a little tickle on your shoulder.
Krystal, I think, called me one night or one day. And she's like, I am just walking Charlie. And I'm like, and you're on the phone with me and walking your dog?
Yeah.
I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? You need to be off the phone. What did I tell you about being off the phone and walking your dog?
She does that with me too. When she sees an Instagram video, she's like, I know where you are. If I know where you are, somebody else can find you.
Find you.
I'm like, you're right. Yeah. I need to think through that as to where I'm posting this video.
Or when I made that video, I was at the range and I had my AirPods in and then I had my ear pro over top so I could listen to music while I was training. And I was like, what? So you're so good at personal safety, Emily. I aspire.
Kind of her job.
Right.
I try. I have to look out for my girls though too. As well.
Yeah.
That's very true.
Did you tell her about when we were leaving the U of M? Leaving the University of Minnesota. No. We did a talk and there was this girl. You know how you see guys yelling at the TV for like football, right? Yeah. Like in a football game, like, that was her out of my car window.
So we were leaving the University of Minnesota after we spoke at the Turning Point event there. And there was, I think it's like a river.
Yeah, there's a river and a bridge and a path.
And sidewalk. So we were like driving out, leaving, and there was a girl who was like running.
It was dark.
Or walking.
Yeah,
it was not that lit. You know, some campuses really aren't that lit up.
Yeah.
And she had headphones on. And she was running.
She's running.
And I literally was like yelling at her.
She probably couldn't hear you because she had headphones on.
Yeah. And no, you're like, do you even have a flashlight?
Yeah, I was just yelling. I'm sure people probably think I'm crazy sometimes because I'm just like we're driving around and I'm like, what is like, you are going to get bonked in the head.
Yeah,
like
you bonked. Yes. You're bonkable.
Yeah, like
you're bonkable. Oh my
bonkable.
God, that's a great hashtag. Don't be bonkable.
Don't be bonkable.
Don't be a victim. It's don't be bonkable.
Don't be bonkable. Although I worry about the double entendre that can happen from that.
The gun world is filled with double entendres. That's kind of the magic of the gun world. That is hilarious.
Yeah, she has a rating system.
So did she ever actually acknowledge your yelling?
No.
How could she? She had headphones on.
I know you should have like a scary movie like behind you.
I mean, I really would love to, and I know that I'll either get arrested, someone will. I don't know what, but like some of these women, and I understand like they don't know. No one's told them, and I'm trying to help, but I really just want to kind of like grab them from behind.
Yeah,
because I'm like, do you just realize?
Emily, I just want to like.
I don't understand though why it's not just a duh.
Yeah,
like an obvious duh to just okay if you insist on having an earphone in your ear. Like, take out one.
Yeah.
So you can hear. Like, don't you want to hear what's going on around you?
My AirPods, I always do in the transparency mode too. So, like, it doesn't do, like, the noise, like, occlusion. Like, you can still hear everything around you.
Still, I mean, like, it's distracting you because it's going directly into your brain. And I'm like, if anything, like, is it... Well, here you are. I can ask you. It's just not a duh thing.
I don't know. I think it's maybe because I'm around firearms so much that I always like, for whatever reason, like, and I keep them tucked in lots of different areas. You know what I mean? That I'm like, oh, I'll be fine. But I will say this. So I haven't been competitive shooting as much lately because I hurt my knee. As you guys know, I had to have knee surgery on my ACL.
No, can you hold that thought? Because I want to just really. Okay, no, finish your thought, and I'm going to go back to you having this knee surgery.
I was going to say, I have never carried more than I have since I got my knee surgery because,
did you shove it in your boot?
No.
Like, did you boot carry?
I had my knee brace. There was nowhere in there. There was no knee brace carrying. No, but I had my knife on me, and then I like finally had Sarah help me figure out the enigma and got that all, taken care of because I remember being like on my crutches and I'm like, I could not run if I had to. And normally maybe that's my problem. Maybe I feel like I'm so scrappy that I'd be able to like, but I wouldn't, right? Like, I couldn't take a grown man. But so on my crutches, I remember thinking like, I'd like to think the world is a good enough place that nobody would attack a cripple. But then I was like,
that's what makes you a target.
I know. I told Emily they're going to see me with my Gucci fanny pack and be like, get that cripple. Like,
of course, you're literally going to be the first person that they go after who's our easiest target? Her.
Right. That one. Crutches. So they carry a lot more now.
Going back to this ACL surgery. So let me just set this up because first off, we didn't know you had surgery. Amy and I get a video from Krystal and she's like, oh my gosh, you guys have to take this training. And it was like a video of her doing this combative training. She's like, it was so awesome, blah, blah, blah. And like Amy and I are like all in this group text. We're like, oh yeah, where is it? When can we sign up? We're all for it. This is awesome. A couple of days go by and then all of a sudden Krystal shares on stories she's getting surgery or something. We're like, what happened to you? She's like, oh yeah, I tore my ACL. Like, where? And she's like, oh, in that training. The training you just sent us to go to? You wanted us to go to?
That's what happened.
Made you get surgery?
Yeah.
She tore during that training.
Heard it before?
No, it was that day.
I thought you knew this.
I didn't. I did. I vaguely remember reading that, but I didn't realize like that's
where it happened.
Yeah.
And we're not trying to discourage you from taking any kind of like physical combative training, but we just think it was funny that she left that little part out.
It was a fluke thing.
Yeah, I think like
the instructor
stuff like that.
The instructor told the guy like, if we're being real, we know there are differences physically between men and women, right? And so he's like, go like 50%, like don't go hard. And I had been the sneaky little gun thief that day. It was fun. So like I came up and so like you got to take roles. We had helmets on and all this stuff. You got to take roles like good guy, bad guy, right? And so if you were the bad guy, like he'd kind of tell you like, okay, here, like based on your physical advantages or disadvantages, what he wanted you to do, right? And whenever I like, and then the good guy's just like, okay, well, when they make contact, it's on, right? And so he was like, okay, like so I'm up against this guy who's like 250 pounds, like 6'2", right? And he was like, all right, I just want you to come in close since you're like small, like grab his belt and just hold on tight. And he was like, you're along for the ride.
Were you the bad guy?
I was bad guy.
Oh, okay.
I gotta be bad guy. It was great. And so I like come over and I like grab his belt real tight and he like pins my arms, but he thinks he has me. And I'm like, I can T-Rex. So I like I drew his gun with my left hand. And then he pushed me away and he went to draw and I was already aiming his own gun at him. And mind you, it was all safe. Everything was cleared, yada, yada. But I was already aiming his own gun at him and he went to draw and his face was like, oh, it's gone. And so, yeah, I did. Whoa. Yeah. And I had a few guys that were like, they're like, probably in real life, I would have just like picked you up and like threw you. He was like, but there was a couple times they were like, I thought I had you subdued like this, but because I'm smaller, I could just grab things and I just T-Rex all day. So yeah. So then by the time I got with my like third sparring partner, now mind you, we're doing like jujitsu type stuff. I didn't have any experience. We maybe should have spent a little bit longer kind of drilling the basics. And so this guy was just being a little overly aggressive because he was like, well, I know this one will be sneaky and I don't, and he just wouldn't let go and my leg got tangled and I couldn't get out. And
did you know at that point that you had torn it?
Yes, I was like, that was bad. That was real bad.
Wait, so you couldn't like walk after this training and you were sending it to us to go without telling us any of this?
Well, because in theory,
hilarious. I always give a disclaimer to everybody that I recommend DOMs with Dynamis Alliance's course. I mean, I just couldn't walk for 2 weeks and I was covered in bruises and I just couldn't walk. See, this is tell everybody this.
Right. This is what I think is
I did tell you now.
Right. That's what I think is so important about these self-defense trainings. And I think a lot of people, like I took one in DC. There was a guy that because after Dom's training, I was like, I want to do this training more often. And there was nobody, of course, in DC that was offering anything close to that. But there was a guy who was sort of doing that kind of stuff. And he was like, oh, why don't you come to my class? I was like, sure. He's like, and then stay after where he's doing a more of your traditional woman self-defense class. I'm like, sure, I'll stay. And I didn't know anybody there, but he was talking about basic, like all the skills that we would learn in those type of combatives class. And he like kind of like pulled this girl's hair. And what I think normal women who aren't exposed to combatives or understand that type of jujitsu or that type of self-defense don't know that like you need to be ready if you're going to take a class like that to get you really need to be physical and get roughed up.
Yeah.
So like he pulled her hair and like
she had
I'm
like
not trying to say anything bad about her, but like the whole like 30 minutes after she kept complaining.
Oh God.
And I'm just like, this is where I think there's an issue with like these like women self-defense classes versus like true like self-defense because they're like just teaching the like sure they teach some situational awareness, but they're teaching like these like little moves and things that I'm like, but you're not like getting real physical with the person, and that is what you need.
That's what you need.
I would rather the first time I get thrown to the ground or thrown into a wall or punched or kicked or hit or knocked down to be in a training scenario.
Yeah, to not be like a surprise.
In real life where, not that this happens all the time. It's happened to me like one time in training, but I feel like at least
you need to feel that force.
The shock, the shock of getting thrown into a wall and I have to pull out my training. That has not left me. And so, you know, you are going to be shocked. If it has never happened to you before, you are going to be shocked. But then what do you do with that shock? Are you prepared to kick into training? Or are you just going to let the shock take over you and you stiffen up and paralyzed and you can't do anything?
Right. You need that shock so then you can decide at this point, well, I definitely need more training so I know how to react, what I need to do next.
Yeah. I would say there was a girl in my class who she struggled a little bit just because she's like, I've never had him like grab me or be rough with me. And to me, that's so foreign because when I was a tomboy too, I'm like, you have any older brothers or siblings? Like, you never got your butt kicked, really? Because like older siblings. Most
guys these days have ever been punched in the face.
Oh wow, yeah. So get you an older sibling. You take a couple hits, you'll be fine. No, like older siblings, older cousins, all that stuff. So like to me, I was always more rough and tumble and like kind of had to be. So like it wasn't as much of like a thing. But yeah, I think if you never experienced that, you need to.
But you remember like it was shocking to us that Dom and them had to give us permission to be violent.
Yes.
And that's probably, I don't know if they said anything like that in your class, but before we started, they came on and they were like, we are giving, well, it was after like the first few rounds and we were like,
like, no, seriously.
Kicking. And they were like, hey, we just need to stop this. Like, we just give you permission to be violent. And I think for women,
that's a girl thing.
We need that permission.
Because we're taught to be, you know, dainty and, you know, kind of just.
Yeah.
Once they gave us that permission, though, it was
all, we were all out. Yeah, it was crazy.
I will say when our carry guard training was that was one of the best scenario based things I've ever been in because it's
that program.
I know. I wish they would. I know. And Eric was great for her. And I wish that there was more of that available. And actually, I even heard like if you ever listen to like the Jocko podcast or anything, he was saying like I feel like even police departments, like so many people would benefit from more scenario based training with like Sims rounds and stuff. But the biggest thing is always like when do I start kicking somebody's butt? When do I draw my gun on somebody? When? Because, you know, it's like, is it just a drunk guy being obnoxious and I can just brush him off? Or is it somebody that like, when we did that ATM thing and we turned around, it's like, or is this person going to try to hurt me? And it's such a split second. They're already in your comfort zone sometimes before you have a chance to react. So I feel like the more people who can put on like scenario-based trainings, like we should do more of that. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question because, I mean, I don't know. I don't think there's a blanket answer for that for everybody because there's so many things to assess from the threat, the size of you versus the threat,
where you're at, the
ability
situation.
to get away from the situation. I mean, I remember having a guy come up to me. I was at my warehouse, our fulfillment center actually, and there was a bus stop there, like right outside of our fulfillment center. And I saw the guy in the parking lot, but he was enough distance away from my car that I felt comfortable. He was kind of loitering, just looked a little out of place, you know, and nothing dangerous or threatening necessarily about him. But I remember being like, okay, he's over there. I know how much distance there is, but I got in my car. Thankfully, I'd locked my door. By the time I was like meddling in my passenger seat, I looked over. He was at the window. He had closed that gap that quickly and was banging on my window. And I was like, whoa. Yeah. Like, whoa. So I had the only thing that I could assess, and I had my gun. I actually had my gun on me, and I like lifted my shirt, and he like backed up. And I was like, what are you doing? He's like, I just need to know if you could light my cigarette. And I was like, but don't ever bang on a woman's door. Yes. Like, I was like, you almost got shot, dude. But
that's how you get shot.
Split second, I was assessing, okay, do I have enough time to reverse and get out of here? If he had a gun, could he shoot me in the time that I could revert? Like, there were so many things going through my head, and then like, well, is he being I don't know what his intentions are when you're banging on my window. I don't know what your intentions are.
Oh, absolutely.
There's just so much to filter through really quick.
And like you said, it just like, well, and that's the thing where like somebody who is in that position, like, like I just want to say, well, like you need to be aware of that. Like, don't come at people that way. Don't, you know what I mean? Like there was that guy I told you the one time, like, I'm like, he made me uncomfortable. Was I overdoing it? Or was like, he going to try to like steal me and play Operation? I don't know. It was in that gas station. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, but you probably shouldn't act creepy. Like don't pull up to a gas station in the middle of nowhere, put no gas in your car and just loiter around cleaning your window. Like that was, so it's like, it depends. So, but it's like, sometimes they need to be worked, but like as us, it depends on your personal experience. Like, Corbin, my friend Corbin that Emily met when he was in high school, there was like a homeless guy sitting on a bench, followed him out of a Walmart. I followed him all the way to his SUV. And when he had his keys out, when he opened the door, the guy kind of grabbed the end of the door and Corbin just turned around and maced him in the face. But he just was
I
like,
think you're justifiable. I do think that's justifiable.
Because he was like, he grabbed my car door. I don't know what he
force. Is it non-lethal force? Like, like which one is it? But I think that's justifiable because you don't know what.
You have no idea what their intention
is. And he was like in high school.
However,
he was high school and he was just like, I don't know, maybe that was too aggressive, but I just like closed my door and left. I'm like, I don't know.
Well, if you don't conceal carry like your firearm all the time, do you keep something else with you at all times?
I always have some lethal / non-lethal tools on me.
Well, is your state pretty
no, my state is terrible. Minnesota's awful.
Can you carry pretty much anywhere there? I mean, what's
well, no. So you can't obviously carry in government buildings. There's lots of places that say like, bans guns on these premises, but that's a whole nother like did you see the sign? Did you not see the sign? Right. If they ask you to leave and you don't leave, then they can trespass you at that point in time. So, but we luckily, honestly, and this is such a good thing for everybody across the country, is we have a very, very not gun friendly state. However, we have one core group that like, they're not affiliated with the NRA. They're like, we need to just focus on Minnesota and get stuff done on Minnesota. And you guys, for like 5 or 6 years now, they have actively defeated any sort of gun legislation for like 5 or 6 years now, which is amazing. And that's just this little tiny group, grassroots, that has gotten support and they have like kept it done. So I always say like, even if you live in a state that's not great, like just you get together, organize, because you can absolutely make a difference. So, but no, and like I said, especially since my surgery, I do carry a lot more now. And it's not like I never carried. I carry a lot like in certain outfits, but it just wasn't like that thing where it became like that everyday part of my habit. But it's always like, well, I have one locked in my car or in my this or that. Like I always had something around, and maybe that's the problem. I thought I was like always scrappy enough that I could like get there or something first, which of course is not realistic. But yeah, no, I always had some sort of lethal or non-lethal tool on me. You never know. There's just knives hiding around, or I don't get any ideas.
Don't mess with her. You don't know what she's gonna pull on you.
But if I actually get to a gun, you're in trouble.
Absolutely. Yeah, you are absolutely in trouble. So, well, we love having you on the show. So, thank you for coming in and getting us caught up.
Yeah, can't wait to have you on the show again.
When I live here.
I was going to say, because it's going to be soon, because you better be living here.
Will you find me one of those houses that fell through and I'm like on it?
I will. You know what? In fact, I'm selling mine. So,
thanks, Abe.
I know a great place. And I'm feeling firsthand like this crazy slowdown in the market. So,
ready. Yeah. People moving back to California yet?
No,
not yet.
They're coming here in droves.
Well, tell our listeners where they can come find you, follow you, your spa, everything about you.
So my spa is Brow Bella, and you can find me on Instagram at Krystal.Dunn. Krystal Dunn shooting on Facebook, and I'm always doing some sort of fun part of my journey or the girly fun stuff too. So yeah.
Yes, you're going to love it. Go give her a follow.
Go give her a follow.
And we'll see you guys next week.
Not Your Average Gun Girl Show and its related companies, Alexo Athletica LLC and Stami Tactical LLC, shares information that may potentially have legal implications for its listeners. A reminder that laws vary for each state, and we encourage listeners to seek local legal advice to understand applicable laws. Any items, services, products, and advice mentioned during the Not Your Average Gun Girl Show should be used at your own discretion in accordance with your local and state laws, and you should follow applicable manufacturer's instructions. Not Your Average Gun Girls, Alexo Athletica LLC, and Stami Tactical LLC cannot be held liable for your actions based on the information shared.